In our world today where career progression is very competitive, how can someone get an edge? If you want to grow, for example, what are the things you need to do? Because if you look around, everybody have almost the same qualification, almost the same training, almost the same skill set. Just like the saying goes, it gets narrower at the top. So if you want to get to the top of your career today, what do you need to do? Welcome to the conversation. I am your host, Edina Elvis, and today we're going to be looking at a secret weapon to career advancement. Our guest today is a seasoned banker with a background in private sector driven economy. She currently works as a team lead of one of the leading financial institutions in Nigeria. She's adept at working with customers to select appropriate financial products, invest wisely, and ultimately grow their wealth. And also, she has cracked this code of career progression because she's currently making tremendous progress in her career. Join me as I welcome Stella Ifoma George. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good
You're
afternoon.
looking radiant as always.
Thank you so much.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you for having us here today. There's something I noticed recently that I wanted us to talk about, and it's about the way people are advancing in their careers these days. Now, we have people that may have the same result, same qualification that you have, probably have the same training you got. So, what's the prospect for career advancement in today's world? What are the possibilities that you get employed today that you will go to the top? Because they say that it gets more narrow as you climb up. So, what's your opinion in that regard?
Thank you very much. Yes, so the question of career advancement is a topic that people have actually talked about a lot of times. And my take on that is that any career that you find yourself in, you should be able to distinguish yourself in that career path. Everybody is trying to fit in. Why don't you try to stand out? So, what I advise is that continuous personal development is the key. Trying to become a better version of yourself, bringing additional value to the work that you do daily, researching on that career path to see the new trends, the changes that are happening, and to see how you can bring that to bear in what you do. If you do that, there's no organization, there's no supervisor that will not be happy to see that you advance through the career. But if you come into a place where everybody is doing the same thing, you're not adding any exceptional value, then you might as well just remain an average um, career person.
So, talking about exceptional value, we are not taught this in school. So, we don't even know that we're supposed to do beyond what our job descriptions told us. So, how do we even find out that, okay, we are meant to be exceptional? What inform those kind of decisions that people take sometimes? Using your own life as an example.
Yes, so I observed that just like you said, that at the top, the positions becomes smaller, becomes narrower. And so I began to ask myself, so if I want to break in into this small cycle, what then do I need to do? And now I don't find out that every time that I add value, I became recognized. I become noticed. And that way the considerations begins to happen. Because there's a saying that you will not be there when discussions about your career is being taken. You will not be there at the table. But your job, your work ethic will speak for you. And that is why I would suggest that for every career you find yourself, it doesn't matter what, put in your best. So that when people are seated at the table where you are not there, they will have things to remember to talk about you in terms of the value that you bring to the table.
Okay, so I want us to go beyond the job description now. What are some of the, because a lot of times they say soft skills, soft skills. What are some of the soft skills you see that are relevant today for career advancement?
Fantastic question. There are a lot of soft skills that um, are relevant for career advancement today. Things like interpersonal skills, effective communication, effective leadership, social skills, emotional intelligence, These are skills that are not ordinarily taught in school, because in school we are taught the technical part of our subject of our discipline.
Hmm.
However, some of these soft skills are the things that will help you to retain and also climb the career ladder. And you find out that some people lack these essential skills. Oh, you are a very good tech person, fantastic, but you don't have a social skill. You don't have an emotional intelligence skill. You don't have effective, you can't even communicate. You can't give or receive feedback. So these are very critical skills that every career person today needs to have.
Sometimes when you hear these words, emotional intelligence, training on interpersonal relationship, you will see price tag like $120. No, $120,000. You will have to fly to London or go to US or one of those Ivy League institutes to get them. How can an average person that is starting his or her career develop these skills, knowing fully well that they may not be able to afford that kind of money?
Fantastic. In fact, I love this question. You don't even need to be a career person for you to begin to seek out the skills.
Okay.
So, what I will advise is even when you are just leaving school, you can volunteer your time, you can volunteer your talent in order for you to gain some of these skills that I talked about. Volunteering is one of the ways you can gain these skills at a zero cost. Because volunteering means that you are offering your time, you are offering your talent for free. But you see the catch, it's actually not for free because you are now gaining some transferable skills as you are volunteering. So you can imagine you volunteer like an organization like Toastmasters, where they major on public speaking and leadership. As you're volunteering in such organizations, you will become a better leader. You become a better communicator. You will learn how to give and receive feedback. And so that's what I want to advise, that you don't need to even wait until you get you are gainfully employed. You finish your school, you're not doing anything. Volunteer. There are many organizations that you can volunteer your time in order for you to gain these skills. Thank you.
Well, you just brought the next question out of my mouth. Volunteerism. For a career person, one of the first excuses you get when you talk to them about things like this is, I don't have time. My job is so demanding. I'm a family person. I've seen from your life that you've not only created a time, but you've excelled in both worlds. In volunteerism, in your family life, in your work, everywhere around you. You've been able to find a sync between all this. First of all, when you heard about volunteerism, what came to your mind? How were you? How did you think about it in the first place before you accepted to be part of it?
So, what came to my mind is that, first of all, I looked at my core values and I realized that my core values have to do with serving others, which is volunteering. Volunteering is your ability to give of your timing. So my core value resonates strongly with volunteering. So when I heard about giving my time, my talents, the gifts that I have to share it with others, it resonated with me so much. And so that was why I was able to balance my family, my work, and volunteering, because it all resonates, it all aligned with my core value. This is one thing I love to do, that I realized early in life that life is beyond the physical things, money, is beyond targets, is beyond just those things that people are running after. I discovered early in life that giving back is one of the things that make the world go round. And that is why I was able to balance both worlds. First, volunteering aligns with my core value, which is service. I strongly believe in using my talents to serve my community for good.
So, the first thing that comes to mind when you hear volunteerism is the fact that they don't get paid. So, how do you stay motivated in an environment where you don't get paid for what you do and you still have to do it for a long time? How do you do that?
Yes, so it's also goes back to what I just said. It's all about alignment with my purpose in life and my
Okay.
core values. That's what keeps me stayed. it's I didn't go there first of all for money,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
I always tell people that are volunteering, you also need to have something that you're doing that will put food on your table,
Yeah.
right? So you don't just say because I am volunteering and that's why I don't have something else that I'm doing. You
Okay.
need to have either a business, 9 to 5, whether you're a tech a person or an entrepreneur, there has to be something that is putting food on your table because you have to eat for you to
Mm-hmm.
have strength to volunteer,
For sure.
right? So that is that. Then, in terms of the volunteering, remember I said it's of you giving your time in exchange for nothing. So you need to understand that this is what it is. If it's not part of your core value, you will see that you fall off along the way. So you need to align yourself with what aligns with your purpose. Where I volunteer might not be where you like to volunteer. So you need to find out which organizations align with your core value so that when you start your volunteering, you will not fall along the way, knowing fully well that you will never get paid. That
Hmm.
is why it is called volunteering. But bear you, remember what I said. It helps with your social skills. It helps with your even mental health.
Hmm.
There are some people that they are always at home doing nothing. It is just from work to home, work to home. Volunteering can help your mental state. By the time you begin to socialize with people, begin to help people, it will help you to um, get off some things off your chest and live a normal, balanced life.
You are a career person, and you talked about this earlier that you can develop a lot of skills in that volunteering environment that can be transferable to your career. So
Yes.
please share from your experience. What were the skills you got from volunteerism that helped you in what you currently do for your 9 to 5?
Yes. So there are a lot, but one of them would be patience, right?
Okay.
It should be patience, tolerance, understanding that you're working with a diverse set of people and everybody is from different backgrounds. So you need to be patient, you need to be tolerant to see things from other people's point of view. So you're developing a great interpersonal skills. You know how to handle people. People's management is a very important skill that is needed today. So these are some of the skills that I've learned in terms of my volunteering because I volunteered where I had to lead or serve with a group of people that are from different backgrounds, different gender, different religion. So your ability to manage them and achieve results is a very great skill, which I'm also taking into the work that I'm doing.
Can you please share specific experiences with regards to the skills you got from volunteerism and how it affected your job? Were there instances where things you could not do prior to volunteering that you could do now?
Okay, so I would not say things I could not do, but I would say things that were enhanced.
Okay.
Yes, they were enhanced in my volunteering journey. For instance, giving feedback and receiving feedback, the 360 evaluation. So it's one of the skills that I learned in my volunteering because in Toastmasters where I volunteered, it is a place where it's like a level playing ground. So everybody, you drop your title at home or in the office, and you come in, and everybody. So you receive feedback as a leader, and you also give feedback. It's one of the things to learn how to take feedback with grace and apply it. That's one of the things I would say that enhanced in my volunteering journey. Yes.
Now, there's a part I want us to come to now, and that's the value of communication, not just communication, but effective communication as a tool for career advancement. A lot of people talk, but not many people communicate.
That's
So,
right.
how has that helped? For example, I know you had it before, but just like you said, it was enhanced when you started volunteering.
Yeah.
How did that translate to your career advancement? Communication specifically now.
Yeah, so communication, like you said, it's not just to talk. There are a whole lot of things. Even feedback is part of
Yeah.
communication. So communication will happen when the receiver and the giver have understood each other. So even in my writing skills, is part of what my volunteering has helped me in terms of improving the structure of my writing, the structure of my speaking as well. So before I speak, I already have to give it a thought and make it make meaning. So it's part of what is expected. If you want to grow in your career, you should be able to speak well and make sense. Also, you need to also be able to, because we write memos, we write reports, so you should be able to put up a good report that makes sense, that is easily understandable to the people that you're trying to send it to. So those are part of the things that we are fine tuning, right? We're enhancing. Yes.
So when it comes to career advancement, we can't roll out promotion from inside, right? So what were the skills that you got that were enhanced from volunteerism that helped you maybe when you're looking for a promotion or when you have a task at your job place and that became better as a result? For example, I know we're having a conversation earlier and you were giving me different scenarios that happened. So can you remember any scenario that otherwise you would have done it differently? Has it not been for the experience you got from volunteerism in your workplace?
Yeah, I think they are part of things
Sure.
yes, I think they are part of things I've already mentioned in terms of my improving my writing skills, in terms of articulating my thoughts and putting them together, sharing my ideas. These are part of the things I would say that they were enhanced in my journey of volunteerism. Now, when it comes to promotion at work, everything is not just one thing that gets you promoted,
True.
right? So you have to look at the different key performance indicators that you have, and you try to hit all of them. Of course, communication in terms of the subjective part of the appraisals, you also, that's where this volunteering will help you to build that aspect, because you have the technical part, which you also need to score well. Then you have now the subjective part, which you need to also do well, which has to do with your interpersonal skills, has to do with your communication skills. And what I want to advise young career professionals is that please pay attention to that aspect.
So how were you noticed when you started this? Because I know for sure when you started volunteering, some of the things that you gotten or that were enhanced were not things that you emphasized, right? So when you started volunteering, when did you start noticing the changes in your workplace? Or who was it someone that just said, "Oh, but Stella, you're doing better now," or did you know that you were getting better in your workplace as a result of that?
Yeah, personally, I knew that I was getting better. The confidence level grew. I was able to, should I still use the word again, volunteer? Sometimes when someone is needed to do something, especially when it has to do with communication, when it has to do with leadership, I was able to easily volunteer myself to say, I can do this. Um, I was not shy again. My confidence level grew. I could speak to anybody, anytime, anywhere. So that confidence level was one of the things I could say, okay, so I began to notice that yes, I had confidence, but it has grown to a certain level where I now know that I have developed this skill to a mastery level.
So mastery, let me take it off from there. Mastery. When you developed it to that level, was it recognized in the workplace?
Yes, of course. Even your colleagues will tell you.
Okay.
Even your colleagues, your friends, people around you will tell you that there's something about you that you have changed. They see that you speak so eloquent. They see that you command the stage. They see that you have so much confidence. So people around you, your colleagues will notice you. They will always, even sometimes they will tease you about it. But it's just goes to show you that people are noticing the changes. People are noticing the growth that is happening.
So
Yes.
was the growth automatic or was it step by step?
No, it's never automatic. It's never automatic. So you have to apply yourself. You have to be consistent. You have to be intentional, and you will see it happening gradually. There are things that hitherto you are not able to do. With time, you now find yourself doing them better with time, and then sometimes it now becomes as if it happened overnight, because
Yeah, because of the mastery.
you have now reached that mastery level, so it looks as if it happened overnight, but it never happened overnight. For instance, in terms of speaking, the first day I stood up to speak, I had butterflies in my stomach, I was shaking. But today, if you wake me up, I can speak without shaking. So, but it didn't happen overnight. It took some time. Yes.
So during those times that you were developing that you may not be seeing the physical or tangible result, what kept you at it?
Yeah, what kept me still goes back to my core values, that this is what I want. This is my purpose. This is what I want. So because when we talk about core value, this is just part of you. If you remove it from you, you're no longer you, right? So if you remove journey to personal development from me, it is no longer me. If you
Mm.
remove service from me, it's no longer me. So once I know that a part of me is missing, I will always go back. So that's what kept me. That this is where I stay. This is where I can stay and grow and become better. This is what I need to be doing. So those are the things that kept me, knowing that this is part of my core value. You remove me from there, you're removing. It's no longer the complete Stella, right? Yeah. So that's it.
So, is it just in volunteer organizations that we can volunteer? Can we volunteer in our workplaces too? And what are some of the avenues that we have within the workspace that we can volunteer?
Yes, good question. It's not only in non-governmental organizations that you can volunteer. You can volunteer at work. And how do you volunteer at work? If you volunteer at work when you know how to do something and you discover that some of your colleagues they are not able to do it, you can volunteer to teach them, right? If they are looking for someone to do something, do not shy away from doing it. If you can, please volunteer to do it. Be the go-to person. If they always remember you that no, if you call Elvis, he will handle it. He can do it. He will always deliver. That is you volunteering. You are going beyond the scope of the job that was described in the paper. You are going beyond. You are volunteering your time to do the extra. There are some days that, for instance, where I work, that you have to, come out of your house, maybe let's say on a weekend to just do something quickly. Every other person say, please, oh, this is my weekend. Meanwhile, you know that this thing doesn't happen every time. It's just maybe just once. You decide to say, you know what, I will do it. So this part of these are ways that you can volunteer at work, and you get recognized. But of course, bear in mind that the reason why you are volunteering in the first place is not because you want people to recognize you, but because this is who you are. This is what you love to do. You love to give back. You love to serve. You love to volunteer. But along the line, there's no way you will not get noticed.
Now, you made mention of something that you're not doing it for the recognition. So, how do you deal with people misinterpreting your intentions, especially in the workspace? Because at times you may be doing this because that's who you are, and someone is reading other meanings to it. That maybe you want to get a favor from the superior. Or how
Yeah.
were you able to manage that? Because I know you experienced that at one point, especially when you were starting. How were you able to manage that?
That's life. It's not just in the workplace. It happens everywhere. Sometimes people misinterpret your good gesture because that they are not built that way. So they don't understand where you're coming from.
Okay,
So you cannot change yourself because of another person's perception of
true,
you.
true.
You know yourself. You know what you're doing. You go ahead and do what you have to do. They will come around. That's what I always say. So long
Okay.
as your intentions are clear, so long as this aligns with your core values, so long as this is what you love to do, please go ahead and do it. People will always talk.
With regards to volunteering, still in the workplace, how do you convince your peer that they need what you need to teach them? For example, say you know how to operate a particular software now or an app, and they don't know. There's a real likelihood that they're going to look at you as a competition, not someone they want to learn from. So, with the intention to help them, how do you make them see that you can actually help them and make them accept what you have to say?
Yes, I agree with you because sometimes also in a bit to teach, you don't also make it look as if these people don't know anything. So it depends on your manner of approach. When you see that somebody is struggling with something, you can use the word, can I be of help? Do you need help in this area? Instead of just saying you don't know anything. And obviously, so it depends on your manner of approach. The way you approach your colleague can make them open up to you to say, please, I need you to show me this. You understand? Don't go around bragging. It's only me that know these things and all that. And when they know that you genuinely care, you want to teach them those things not because you want to share the glory, but because you really want to teach. When they see it, they will understand it and they will be able to. But mind you, like we said before, there will still be people, one or two, that will feel that no, I don't want to learn from you. You won't force them, right? So you offer your help, you offer your assistance, and you go with the ones that are ready to learn.
There's something I noticed, especially in the work setting. I don't know whether it's true or not. For staff, or for workers that may have a particular set of skills within that organization, it takes a long time before the organization come to terms that okay, this person can do this. They rather prefer bringing someone from the outside to, for instance, maybe you know how to, you are a professional in emotional intelligence, for example. They know that maybe this you can do this very well. Maybe from your interaction with your colleagues, they already know. But to give you that platform to actually give back within the organization at times is difficult. They'll either pay hundreds of thousands to fly somebody in just to. How do you balance that? Especially, in this volunteering thing, some things that you know you can do and you're not given the chance to show it, you're not happy. Not because you want to prove a point to anybody, but for the fact that you're seeing that there's financial outlay that can be curtailed by just allowing some people that can do it within. So how were you able to manage that? Or has there been situations like that? And if they have,
Well,
how were you able to deal with it?
yeah, so the thing is, first of all, you need to understand why you're there in the organization.
Okay.
You understand? You need to know your core duty and responsibility. The other part is the volunteer part. First, do the work that took you to the place. The volunteer part, you can start from where you are with what you have until one day you get recognized to say, you know what, come and do this on a larger scale. So you don't push to say, I want to be there, I want to be here. I don't know. Just start, just with your colleague. Start with it can graduate, just gradually. One day you get recognized. So what I advise is that please do the main duty that took you to your place. Volunteer the ones you can, showcase your talent. If the organization decides to bring somebody from outside, please, by all pleasure, sit down and listen. You can connect with the person. You can even help the person out if there's something they need to do. But have an open mind. Be happy about it, right? Do not say that because I know this thing, they must. No, 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 no. It doesn't work that way. For every thing that you're learning, you're also adding it to your own knowledge bank that maybe tomorrow it will be of benefit to you. So you don't fight in quotes the organization to say, why didn't you people use me? I know how to do this, I know how to do that. Sometimes even the colleagues, they want to see a different
Yeah.
personality, they want to
Yeah.
see a different face. So you allow them to do that. But in your own little way, you continue to volunteer your time. For instance, for me personally, there was a time people now got to know that I have this one-on-one coaching with people, or let's say mentoring.
Yeah.
That's the word, with people. So once I see you, the talk will just grow from nowhere. I'll now start telling you this is how you need to do this is how you need to do that, this is how you need to do this in order for you to become better. Naturally, not planned. And before you know, this one will tell this one, she spoke to me or she helped me and all that. So you continue to do that until one day your big break will come and they will say, you know what, come and train people at this higher level because we've seen that you can do this. Yes,
So
but
that
until that
means
time,
it goes to show that you have to start something
you have to
first.
start from somewhere. You have to start. Yes, you have to continue because this is what this is what your core value is. This is what you have to do because you will not rest until you continuously do it. But the thing is that you must not be the way you want to start it. You understand? On that larger scale. For instance, you know how to do training. You are waiting until they gather the whole organization for you to train. No, one person by your corner needs training. Can you volunteer to train that person? It might not be in a formal training. Yeah, so you start from where you are. Tomorrow it could be just that person that was put in a word for you to say, this person is the person that showed me how to do this.
So balance now. How do we create, especially I'm looking at career people now. How do we balance? Because volunteering can be time consuming. How do you balance that time that it doesn't get to affect either your 9 to 5 or your family with volunteerism? Because usually the way the world is structured now, we are choked up with a lot of activities. Even from the workplace, you see at sometimes they may want to have all of you.
Yeah,
So that alone is demanding on it
on
by
its own.
itself.
Yeah.
Then you add family. Then you then bring full volunteerism. I understand that we can learn a lot, but how do we balance everything?
Listen. So I've always questioned that word balance. I've always asked, is
Okay.
there a balance really? So is there really a balance? Are we just deceiving ourselves?
Okay.
So what I would like to say is that prioritization is the key. You need to prioritize what is key at every point in time. So I applied the time management principle, very critical. The urgent and important task, the not important urgent, important but not urgent, not important, not urgent. So I work with that time management principle. I know what to do per time. I know what requires my time, right? So even the 80/20 principle, I apply it as well. So you need to bring all this to bear. It is not balanced. It's
Mm.
like a pendulum. It swings
Yeah.
this way. So today you have to give 99% of your time to the 9 to 5, because there's a timeline, there's an urgent thing that is supposed to happen.
Mm.
The other one can wait for a bit. You do that. Tomorrow it has to be like this. So you try to see how you can just swing it. Yes, still bring it to the balance, but that's how it is. Prioritization is key, and time management.
So what of times where those demands clashes? For example, now you are very active in the volunteer organization, and there's a demand that by the virtue of a position you're supposed to respond to quickly, and in your 9 to 5 too, there's another demand at the same time.
Yes, so that's where delegation comes in. You
Okay.
need to learn how to delegate, especially as leaders, right? And like it goes back to still the prioritization. Which one takes precedence? For me, is my 9 to 5. It takes precedence to everything at this moment in my life. So I had to attend to that first, then I delegate the other one. Yes, so that's how that's that, and that way, because some people saw me, they say you did this with grace. It looks as if there was no,
Yeah.
it looks as
It
if
wasn't difficult.
yes, it
It
looks as
just
if it wasn't
flowed.
difficult. It didn't break a sweat. So it's just to apply all these things. Know when to delegate, know when to prioritize, and understand the place of each in your life. My
Hmm.
9 to 5, my work that I do is the first in that order.
Hmm.
Family first, my work, then the volunteer. So you place them where they are, know when to delegate, know when to prioritize, and everything will be good.
The next question now will be on people management. You mentioned it earlier as some of one of the skills you can get from volunteerism. How does that really work? Do we in reality manage people, or what is it about? Because the word looks at is fancy. Like, I have people management skills. Really. So what is it? Both in
Is it, can
volunteerism and in
you,
the workspace. How do we
yes.
really manage people? Especially when they have differing opinion and views from what you want or what you believe in as a person. How do you do that?
So the best way to do it is, first of all, to hear the point of view of everyone. If you're in an organization where you have to apply democratic kind of leadership, you need to hear from others. Then you have to now take the decision that is in the best interest of everyone. That is why you are the leader. You need to make people understand that even though you have suggested this, however, this will work better because of this. Now, in terms of where your own opinion was wrong at the end of the day, you need to acknowledge that, oh, even though you suggested this earlier, I didn't take it, I brought mine, my own didn't work. I'd like to apologize to say your own would have been better. So
In this African setting.
yeah, so that's what volunteerism will teach you.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so you need to learn how to say, I apologize, I didn't get it right. So first you need to hear from others, hear their opinion, because they're all adults, and you're not paying them.
True.
You're not paying them. So you get their own point of view, then you bring your own as the leader, you match it, and you say, most times we do voting to take a decision. That way we have majority, we have minority having their voice, but majority having their way. So that way nobody will complain, right? So that's what we learn in volunteerism. You don't just become an autocratic leader, take decisions alone. You need to seek the consent of people, seek the opinion. So that way you'll be able to manage. However, it doesn't mean that there will be no conflicts. Once in a while, you have people with strong characters that will always feel that it must be their own way, right? It must be their own way. So sometimes you have to step in and say, this is where we are going. I will explain this later. So it's just to try to see how you can balance the whole thing and let everybody understand that there's a hierarchy. There's a reason why this person is there, even though we want to hear from everybody. But when there's an important decision to be taken and time is of the essence, it is at the discretion of the leader to take that decision.
When it comes to saying admitting that you were wrong, Some people may want to look at that as a sign of weakness for a leader. Is it true? And if it is, when is it advisable to do that? Or is it just in every situation? Especially both in the workplace and in volunteerism. When should one admit that you're wrong? Or should we even admit in the first place? Because from my own, the way we're raised, your mom is never wrong. Your dad is never, your
Never.
uncle cannot be wrong. Even when they do something that you know is wrong, they'll never tell you sorry. And some of us grow up with this mindset and
Mindset,
bring
yeah.
it to the workplace, bring it to anything we do. So is it, so some people even claim that it's a show of weakness to say you're sorry.
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is. So it depends on how you say the sorry.
Okay?
Sometimes you can, say it in passing. You said this thing, and I didn't take it. Now I've seen that what you're saying.
I'm letting
That's
what's walking.
you see now I've said sorry without saying sorry. So
Yeah.
you can say, I remember Elvis, you mentioned this thing and I disagreed with you. Now I can see that you were right.
Hmm.
That is apologizing. Right.
Wow.
So
That's a technical way of saying sorry without saying sorry. Wow,
so
wow,
that's it.
wow, wow. That's
Yes.
good. Before we leave, I want to ask this part now. The family part. Family, because you mentioned the other priority is family, work, then volunteerism. How do you make them not feel, because for example, I know where you volunteer at, sometimes you have to leave work straight to the meeting, stay for another 2 3 hours before you get home. How do you make your family know that okay, you are still there for them even though you're investing the time in these other things?
Yes. It's first to carry the family along.
Okay.
My children, my husband, they know Toastmasters in and out.
Okay.
Yes, so they know what you're doing. They know the reason why you're doing what you're doing. They know the importance that you attach to this thing, and so you have to get their buy-in. You have to get their cooperation. The days that I have to close from work and go for a meeting that I will not be early, maybe a day before then I would have prepared what we're going to eat. And I say, so just bring this thing out from the fridge, microwave it, and eat. I've already prepared. So you have to make plans. You have to have a conversation. You will not just go from work and they're calling you, you're not there. No, already prior. For instance, my husband will know that, okay, today you're going to Ghana Gardens. Okay, today you're going to corporate speakers. You're not coming in early. So he is the one, sometimes he's even the one that will come and pick me up, right? So it is by having a very open conversation about the reason why you're doing what you're doing and their role in supporting you to do what you're doing is very critical.
Wow. I remember, you see this part now, they are really supporting you. I always see your husband around,
Yes.
which is something that I admire so much, especially the dinner we just had now. When he was walking from the road, when I saw him,
You
there was this joy
know,
that I had. I'm like, that is here.
yes.
Nice. Then when it was time for a while and he walked out, I said,
Yes.
oh, this is the best.
Yes.
So thank you so much, man. So before you go, what's your advice for someone that either has a career now and is looking at volunteerism? Maybe I'll do that later. Or they do, I don't even considering it at all. Because from this conversation we've had now, we'll see that volunteerism is a weapon we can use to advance our career if we do it the right way. So, what would be your advice to someone watching you now and is contemplating or not even considering volunteerism?
Yes. So what I would like to say is that please volunteer. You must not wait until you get into one big corporation where you want to go and volunteer. Start from where you are in your community. You can do the little things that you can. That is volunteerism. Even if you're working in your workplace, lend a hand to a colleague. That is volunteering. Volunteering is simply giving of your time, of your skill for free without getting paid. So don't just start from where you are and give in your best. That way you're learning. You can imagine when you volunteer in your workplace to help some of your colleagues do better. That way, for instance, if it's to do a training, it means that you have to go and read for you to come and train.
True.
That way, you are gaining more knowledge for yourself. You are becoming adept at what you're coming to train them. So, volunteer today. Do not hesitate. For those that are still looking for a job, sometimes you go for an interview. They're asking you. They need 3 years experience, 4 years. Do you know that your time in a volunteer work can help you build your CV as part of that experience that you're seeking for?
No, please expatiate this part because Nigeria like to hear anything job, not just Nigeria, the
Yes.
youth. Because Imagine someone that's a graduate, you just finished youth service, and they're
Yes.
telling you you need to come with 10 years experience.
Experience,
When
yes.
did you graduate from school?
That's
That you're
that's
supposed to get the experience. So
that's
now that you mention it, please,
that's
how does that really work? Because you're in the career path now.
yes, that's the thing.
So
Yes.
can that really work?
Yes, you can. You can.
Okay.
You go to some places, they're asking you. In fact, these days, the what the interviews they do is what we call the competency based
Okay.
interview. So they just want to hear you say, "I have done this thing.
Hmm.
This is my experience." You understand? You
Yeah.
use what we call the star approach, the situation, right? The time, the outcome,
Yeah.
and all that. So, what really happened? What was your responsibility if you go for an interview? So you should be able to say, a few months ago, I volunteered in so place. My duty was to help to organize meetings. There I learned time management. There I learned quick thinking, organization. So you'll be able to reel out things that you can say that you've learned. I learned how to prepare an agenda,
Hmm.
right? I learned how to prepare a flyer. I learned how to do this. I learned how to do that. So, and all those things you were doing them for free. However, you are gaining these skills that can use to build your CV from scratch. Instead of you having a blank CV to say when they say work experience, say no, 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 no. You can say you can have a full work experience from volunteering.
So that means we have to redefine what we call work.
Yes,
So that means every work, that means anything you're involved in can actually be work,
yes,
even
there's
when you're not paid for it.
thank you. Fantastic. That's it.
Okay.
Exactly. Yes, there's something you're gaining. So long as there's a skill that you're gaining from it that you can apply to what you're looking for,
Hmm.
that becomes your experience.
Okay.
Yes. So
Okay.
somebody is trying to employ you for a sales job. They want you to be a marketer.
Hmm.
And you're saying, I've not sold, I've not sold. If, for instance, you have been a Toastmaster and you have been a vice president membership, what were you doing?
Selling.
You are selling. You're trying to market to get people into even the PR. So these are the things you can say. Yes, I've been involved in selling. This is how I prepare some contents that I push out.
And
I
people
and
respond.
people respond. I send them messages. I get feedback. These are the skills that you can take to, for instance, a sales opportunity job to say I have experience with your full chest.
Hmm. Wow. So that means those that are not even considering volunteering, they are losing out already.
Of course. Of course,
Wow.
because you're waiting for years, the job is not coming, and you're not volunteering. You're not getting any skill. You're not getting any job. So when the time comes, you see somebody else from nowhere to come and say, "I have experience," and they're asking, "What experience?" Say, yes, I've volunteered my time in so place. I did this. I was their project manager. I
Hmm.
was their logistics manager. I was their PR person.
Hmm.
And the person actually have the experience to back it up.
Yes.
They will take that person over you that you are just sitting at. In fact, some people, when they hear you that, you mean you graduated since and you have been at home doing nothing,
Hmm.
is a turn off already for some interviewers. They were like, okay, so please, you're not serious.
Wow. Wow. So what are the organizations you can suggest for people that may be considering it, but they don't know which one to consider or which one to join? Do you have any list or any organization that comes to mind readily?
Well, I can't say I have a list, but I know some non governmental organizations, they abound.
Okay.
I know of Toastmasters International. Toastmasters International is a place you can volunteer and you learn over 300 competencies.
Wow.
Yes, over 300. So you're learning coaching, mentoring, leadership, communication, evaluation, a lot, project writing, vlog posts, video editing, everything, graphic design. There are so many skills that you can learn in a place like Toastmasters if you volunteer your time and apply yourself. And there are so many others like that. If you ask your friends, if you seek them out, if you even search online,
Hmm.
organizations that I can volunteer in, you will see them and you start.
Wow. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
You're most welcome.